Today I'm taking a look at the third installment in the Kinfire Delve series. That is Kinfire Delve Callous Lab. Now, Kinfire Delve is a card game where you are trying to dive deeper into this well and defeat a big final boss. Also, this is a review copy from Incredible Dream Studios. So I'm going to show you how it plays, and then I'll come back and share with you some of my thoughts.
Okay, so here we have a game of Kinfire Delve Callous Lab set up and ready to go. This box, like every other Kinfire Delve box, comes with two characters that you can play as. We have Roland set up here, so we're going to be demonstrating with him today, but this box also comes with Valoria as well, and then her deck of cards too. So you can play as either character. You can also play as any other character from any of the other Kinfire Delve boxes as well. You can mix and match them if you want. So in Kinfire Delve, in Callous Lab, just like the other ones as well, we are trying to get to the bottom of this well, and this deck of cards represents the well. So if we get all the way to the bottom of the well, we will face the final boss, the master, if you will, and then if we defeat the master, we win the game. This is the master card right here in the middle of the table. Callous here starts with 10 progress tokens on him, and if you ever lose all of those progress tokens before you get to the bottom of the well, you lose the game. That's one way that you can lose this game. These are challenge cards all around the master card here, and so on your turn, what you will do is you will pick a card from your hand to play. That's an optionary action. You don't have to if you want, but most of the time you're going to be playing a card, and then you are going to boost that action up to 2 times. You will roll the dice, and then you will complete or fail the challenge. So I'll show you a few times how that works. So here is our hand for Roland, and you can see we've got 8 cards to start with, and we've got a lot of different options. Now, in Kinfire Delve, one of the things is that whatever card you play, the color of it, the outline here, has to match whichever challenge you are taking on. So if we play this blue card, we would be going for this blue challenge, Callous's Cipher, right there. If we play this red card, we would be going for this trap up here that is also red. So the colors do have to match. Also, you start the game with 10 health, which I did not mention. If you lose all your health, you also lose the game. So what should we do here on this first turn? Well, we've got one green card here, and so I would say we could go ahead and try to go up against maybe the triplets here. If we wanted to, that seems like a good card to start with. So we would play this card out in front of us here, and I think you can see that. Yes, so you would play that wherever you would like. So once you have this card out here, you can also decide to boost it if you would like. Now, Roland's deck, basically these are wild, so you can boost with any of these. But if you look at Valoria's deck here, she has some color specific boosts that if you were playing with her, you could only boost, cards of that color. But for Roland, these are all wild, so we could also choose to boost with one of these cards if we wanted to. So if we are going after the triplet, which has a value of 7 here that we are trying to overcome, if we boosted with this card right here, that would give us an added boost of 2. So now we are going up with 6 against the triplet's 7. You would roll these dice right here, and you would see what you get. You can see here we've got 2 greens and also this icon, which is a wild. This counts for any 3. This counts for nothing, and you can see this die has some of each face on it. These are just different colors, green, red, and blue. So we've achieved this challenge. So what you would do is go ahead and gain the reward for this challenge. So you can see here that each card has a reward and also has an option that happens, if you were to fail the challenge as well. And so what this card gives us is we get to dive deeper into the well. So we would take 4 of these cards and put them over here on this pile. And again, our goal is to get to the bottom of this well to try and win the game. So after we've done that action with Roland, what we would do now is look at his special ability. And it says, each time that you boost with this symbol, the boosted seeker may draw a card. Well, we did have that symbol on here as a boost. So what we are able to do is go ahead and draw another card into our hand. And you can see we've got here a Scholar's Heart. So these will go in a discard pile over here. And you could place this further apart if you had more room, but I'm just trying to get it all on camera. And then you would flip this over, and now you have another challenge. So that's the basic structure of the game. You also have this card, which is your lantern. It is not activated at the beginning of the game, but you might have an opportunity to activate it and flip it over. When you do, you usually get a really good ability. So this is going to give you, 5 initially, and then it says discard as many cards as you wish, and then you get +1 per this symbol that is in your discard pile. So that could be a really powerful card to overcome a powerful challenge. You also do never draw more cards into your hand at the end of a turn. When you get to a point where, say, you've been playing for a couple of rounds, then you have no more cards left in your hand, say all of those are in your discard pile, well, now you become exhausted and you have to draw one of these cards, which might have a one-time effect or maybe an ongoing effect. So you would draw this card, and then this one says at the end of each turn, either suffer 1 damage or remove 1 progress from Callous. And again, if Callous loses all his progress, or if you lose all your health, then the game ends. So those are cards that you have to draw when you become exhausted. You also don't have to complete a challenge on that turn. If you were to fail a challenge, you might suffer the penalty for this challenge, like this is to lose 1 health here on this card, but you could continue to add progress to those challenges even if you don't defeat them on that particular turn. Now, say you have completed all of the challenges and you have gotten to the bottom of the well. You are all the way at the bottom. Well, now what happens is, say all these cards were in this pile over here. These would all go away. And what you would have is these cards that would come out. And you would also take these off and flip this over. So there are 3 different master cards that come with the game. This one is the Art of War, and it is +5 difficulty for every face-up gauntlet card. So now you are facing the gauntlet. So you would place these cards face up in any way you wanted around the master card. And these cards all have to be defeated pretty much before you are able to defeat the master. You'll see the master has a black border around him. That means he's not vulnerable to any color at the start of this battle. But as you flip these cards over, you can see now it's vulnerable to blue actions, now vulnerable to green actions, now vulnerable to red. This one is when rolling, if none of the 3 dice match the challenge's color, turn this card face up. And this one's unique because if you do not complete this one, you cannot win the game. So you have to get that one done at some point. Then the other ones are optional here for this game. But overall, that's an overview of how Kinfire Delve Callous Lab works. It's a pretty quick game. Takes about 30 to 45 minutes. Not a huge setup either. So now I'll go ahead and share with you some of my thoughts.
Okay, so you've seen an overview of the game. Now I'll share with you some of my likes and dislikes. In this game, just like the other Kinfire Delve games that I have played, the card quality is fantastic, and the artwork and the graphic design is really the star here. In a card game where you are diving deeper into a well, you obviously want the cards to look good, and you want them to be understandable and easy to read and easy to figure out what you need to do, and that is the case once again in Callous Lab here from Incredible Dream Studios. They look great, and some of them even have a little bit of foil backing on them. That looks really cool as well. So no complaints there with the card quality in this one either. Also, this is a easy game to understand. It's very simple to pick up. It's very easy to set up. And once you go through the rule book, you have a pretty good idea pretty quickly of what you're trying to do throughout the course of the game. It also works really well solo. When you play solo, you just draw 1 more card for your seeker. So you have an 8-card hand instead of a 7-card hand if you were playing with 2 people. But other than that, there are no rule changes between the solo game and a multiplayer game of this. So that's really nice. You don't have to learn a whole nother set of rules just to play this by yourself. It also does not take up a lot of space on the table, which is one thing I always consider for solo games, because sometimes your table space is limited and maybe you don't have a lot of room or you want to take this with you somewhere. This is a great game to be able to do that. You can set it up and it's very compact and works very well on a small table size. So some things about about this version in particular that I really enjoy is I really like both of the Seekers in this set. Roland and Valoria are both really fun to play with, and they also both feel different as well. You know, Roland is better at some of those combat actions. He's a little bit stronger. He has a lot of cards in his deck that are going to help you take on those combat challenges. Whereas Valoria has a really cool ability with her arrows, where if you play a card that has an arrow on it, you get to add 1 progress to 1 challenge that you're not currently working on. That seems like a really great thing, especially when you play solo and only if you play one-handed. Now, I know some people do play this two-handed, and you can definitely do that if you want, but if you're just playing one-handed, that action and ability from Valoria is really nice because you're adding progress to other various challenges throughout the course of the game without having to, play a card to impact them directly. Both characters in this box, I think, work better for solo than Vainglory's Grotto. One of the characters in that box I had an issue with. I just didn't feel like they were really well suited for solo play. That is not the case here. I've played a couple of games with Roland. I've played a couple of games with Valoria. Both are really fun and different, and both work well solo. And I've won one time with Roland. I've gotten close a couple of times with Valoria. So they are pretty evenly matched and work really well, and both of the characters in this box are really well designed. This game is also tense, but it's tense in the right ways. One game, like I was talking about with Roland, I would have lost had it come down to maybe probably 1 or 2 more turns. I was almost out of cards. I would have had to draw another exhausted card, and that would have really ended things for me, but I didn't have to. And then another game that I played with Valoria, I got to, the final boss there, and down to the bottom of the well, and just lost it at that point. So I feel like it's well designed in the fact that you're not going to be finishing this game super duper early. Some of these type of games that you play, they will have cards in them, or they will have situations in them where the game can almost end instantaneously or within 5 minutes of setting it up. And that's not the case here in Kinfire Delve Callous Lab. You're going to get at least, a 20 to 25 minutes experience at the least if you end up losing this game. And if you win, it's probably going to take you closer to about 45 minutes to accomplish that. But I also really like that this is, a quick setup game. So if you do have that situation where you die early on in the game, you can just shuffle everything up. You can set up the piles once again, and you could be playing another game of this in about 5 minutes. So in terms of that factor, I don't mind dying in this game. You're going to die a lot in this game. In fact, it is pretty hard to win this game, but I enjoy that it's not, that instant death situation where it's like turn 2 and, oh, I've already died. I got to set everything up and start again. That's not the case here. I also feel like you get a really great experience for not an insanely long playtime. Like I said, it still feels very epic and exciting, even if it only takes 30 to 45 minutes. It really does feel like you are diving down to the bottom of this well. You are trying to defeat these various challenges. All of the challenges are unique too, which are very cool. You've got the combat, you've got traps, you've got puzzles, and another really cool thing about this game is that all of the cards have different kind of abilities that they do, not only your character cards, but also the challenge cards as well. And in this version, more than the other ones I have played, I noticed the challenge cards kind of bounce off of each other sometimes, depending on what else is out there. Like there's one challenge card that you can put out that will reduce the value of all the other challenges by 1, but if you fail that challenge, you have to, take the fail result twice. So that's interesting. There's the triplets card. If there's only one triplets card out, it's only 7 that you have to get to defeat it. But if another triplets card comes into play, that increases the value of every triplets card that's out there in one of those 4 cards. So just a lot of things like that in this game where you really have to be looking at those challenges. And I feel like there's really interesting decision space there where you're trying to figure out which one do I want to go for first. And sometimes it's good to leave challenges out there for a little bit as well, especially if they're helping you accomplish maybe other challenges. There's also some challenges in this game that maybe you don't want to put progress on. Like one of the challenges, when you complete it, you have to draw 2 exhausted cards. Well, obviously you don't want to have that be done quickly, so you're going to let that one kind of sit out there and prepare for when that does have to happen so you can be ready for it. So a lot of variety in the challenges in this box for Kinfire Delve Callous Lab. Let's see here. What else did I have on this list? I would also say that the cards. There's so many different cards here in this game that you're going to have to play this at least a couple of times before you see them all. Because when you are diving deeper into the well, you know, you're drawing 3, 4, 5 cards at a time and just stacking them in another pile. You're not seeing those cards. So to really go through the whole deck and see all of the challenges that this game has to offer, you're gonna have to play it at least, I would say, probably 3 times before you see all of those cards, and that adds some nice replayability to the game. Another thing that you can do with these boxes is you can mix and match. So if you have like Callous Lab here, and if you have Vainglorious Grotto or one of the other Kinfire Delve boxes, you can take characters from that box and play challenges in this box with them. So there's some nice variety there in terms of, oh, I want to switch it up, but I want to take these characters and use them in this scenario or in this challenge. Also, I would say this game is good if you want to check out the Kinfire world. You know, they have some bigger games in this series, but this is a very nice entry level and a very affordable place to start if you're just interested in kind of checking out the world and checking out the design and how things work in this system. I think this is a really great one to start with. So those are all my likes for Kinfire Delve Callous Lab. I'll share with you some dislikes now. I don't have very many, but one dislike that I have in this one that I also had in the first one is the health die just seems kind of lame. It's just a regular 10-sided die when you have these very cool cards and you have, you know, these other dice that look really cool. The fact that that is just a 10-sided die is a little lame. I feel like they could have made it maybe a tracker, or they could have just made it a cooler looking 10-sided die, but I think just something a little bit better could be a little cooler for this game. And then another dislike that I have that's specific to this version is a lot of these challenges in this version require a lot of progress on them to be completed. That's not a bad thing at all. I'm not complaining about that. Just the progress tokens come in values of 1 and then also 3. Now, like when you get to the final boss there, the master card there at the end of the game, some of those have values of 20, 25, 30, and you're stacking these progress tokens up on there. And, you know, when you have to put 10 3 tokens on there, it's just hard to count those quickly and know at a quick glance how much progress you have towards a certain challenge. So I would have just liked maybe some 5s, maybe a couple 10s thrown in there as well for those progress tokens. But again, that's a minor complaint. And those are just very little, you know, cosmetic and usability things throughout the course of the game. But overall, I really enjoy this one. I like this one better than Vainglorious Grotto. I've played this one and also Vainglorious Grotto. I think this one works a little bit better for solo. I also like the character design in this one better. So I am rating this game a 9 out of 10. A very enjoyable, quick card game that works great solo. It is a fun boss battler type game once you get to that final boss, and as you're completing those challenges throughout the course of the game, you really have to think about how you're going to use your cards and how you're going to strategize and when to become exhausted. Some really nice thinky decisions that you are making and not a long playtime. So again, for those reasons, I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. Kinfire Delve Callous Lab, and also thank you to Incredible Dream Studios for the review copy. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. I have another video with Kinfire Delve Vainglorious Grotto that you can go check out. Also some other solo reviews and lists as well. Until next time, I'm Jared. You've been checking out Specifically Solo.